good. You're right, Randy. Would you mind revising that point for me real quick?
Okay. I really wish people would stop getting offended over people like asking questions about the gender stuff. It's like,
Right.
okay, I was watching a video today on actual Facebook Reels. It was this Asian store owner. You might have seen it.
Yeah.
He was
I've
like,
not.
oh, you haven't?
No.
Okay, this drag queen walked into his store
Yeah.
and he was like, are you a man? Or he was like, are you a gay? And
Right.
she was like, oh, I'm a drag queen. And he was like, why?
Yeah.
And she lightened up and was like, because that's what I feel like. That's what makes me happy. And he was like, okay. Then he kissed her hand like how
Oh,
his kind of people do,
that's so
and
cute.
was just asking questions as a nice person.
Yeah, you know what?
Some people just want to know. No,
I think
you don't
those
have to get
visceral reactions are I really do think they're outliers that mostly happen on social media, thankfully. I really do think that the most offensive people you'll see are on social media, and but you're right. I think when the right sees people getting really annoyed for other people just asking questions, it bothers them, and I can't say they're entirely wrong for believing so. It's an openness that needs to happen on both sides, you know. We're asking them to be more open and accepting, but also we need to like we need to move the goalpost a little bit for them too. And it's like, you guys don't have to like immediately start changing your behavior, but you do need to start trying to understand.
I wish I could ask Peach why she feels the way your sister, brother, whatever.
Sibling.
But I feel like they would get angry with me because
I feel like
they. Sorry.
Yeah. No worries.
I'm trying to correct myself.
You're doing
the
great.
The world I have been introduced in has always been he and she.
Literally flawless.
But I do try to correct myself on it. They would get offended because they do get heavily offended on stuff of this encounter.
I think specifically with Peach, in the past you would have been right, but Peach is on a new beat, as am I, and we seem to be congruent in that new beat. And she's more tolerant of people just straight up asking questions about why she thinks the way she thinks.
I'm actually
and I feel
curious.
Like we could have that conversation with her, no doubt, without any form of uncomfortability if you wanted to.
Because I don't know why, but what in their mind makes them feel how they do? Why would they want to go on to a... I don't know
to
what
try and put it as simply as
means.
I can. They, so let's say that masculine is a set of traits and ideologies, right? I think people would agree with that. Let's say this person that was born a woman were to have frequent masculine thinking, right? And even maybe like be a more dominant personality, you know, and it's all based on what our society decides what is masculine and feminine. And so if we decide that the more dominant thought processes is to be masculine, then the person that understands that will then lean their identification in that direction as well. Because if you understand it just to be, like, I don't think I could redo that better than I already did. I think it was pretty solid.
on Peach.
Yeah.
Do they prefer to be identified as a they them?
They prefer to be identified as a they them because they consider themselves to be gender fluid. Some days.
What I don't understand is the other pronouns. Like, I heard one on the internet, like zer, zim.
Okay.
I
can get into that
completely disagree
too.
with all of that stuff.
I can get into that too.
Just be they, them, or he or she.
You know, I feel like that is going to be where people the first stepping stone people get to is going to accept the they them. And I think so. They them can mean a couple different things, right? They them can mean you don't want to identify with a gender, right? They them can also mean that your gender may be different at the moment than it was previously, and so to call you a consistent gender would be inaccurate. You know, like some days Peach considers themselves to be gender fluid. So some days they have more masculine thinking and more masculine tendencies, and some days they have more feminine thinking and feminine tendencies. And so they is what covers the pronoun for when you don't know if the person you're talking about is a he or a she. And that's just that's just grammar. I think that's just grammatically correct.
Back when I was growing up, that was just known as being a tomboy female.
Yeah. I mean, it's just different words. It really is. It's just different words for the same thing.
They would get offended over being called a tomboy.
Yes, because I think you see that with most. I think it's just a part of our modern society is that you find it very important what you call yourself. You know, I think most groups of people could agree with that. I think you find that in cultural identification, political identification, geographical identification, sexual identification, and gender identification. I think, and job identification. People very much are very into, and this is normal and okay, people are into the way they refer to themselves in a very big way, and that doesn't make, and just because people that are into gender theory believe that way as well, it's not an outlier or anything, it's the norm.
I don't know if I would be completely open up to calling people zer, zim thing. But if you're happy with me calling you a they, them,
zer, zim, and other pronouns of that ilk. Ilk is probably a bad connotation to put on that. But, so the pronoun I'm most comfortable with my knowledge of after they is it. I understand why people would want to be called an it. It removes responsibility. It removes a certain human characteristics that are undesirable. So I understand it. I don't know enough about Zim to talk about it. I think I have three theories.
I think it's more of people that are like really radical thinking.
Yeah, I have three theories. One is it's people that are really radical thinking trying to come up with a new term, and maybe even literary thinkers that just don't want to use they them because they don't like the grammar of it. That's theory one. Theory two is that it's people making fun of the movement and making fun of people changing their pronouns by making up a new silly gleep glorp pronoun, right? And number three is that it is a true identification with a form of gender that I don't have not fully looked into and don't entirely understand. I don't know which I think is most likely, but I would be fine with the reality of any of them.
I personally believe there's only 3 genders.
Sure.
Man, female, non-binary.
People have believed less than that. So, good on you as far as I'm concerned.
But that is still involving everyone.
Yeah.
Because if you're not binary, you're going to be non-binary. It keeps it simple in my head so I can remember.
You know, that goes hard. It's like autism is a spectrum, non-binary is a spectrum. Gender may not be a spectrum. Gender as we currently think about it in society may not be a spectrum, but non-binary may be. Because androgyny is not in the center. Androgyny is not... Some people mistake androgyny as being in between being masculine and feminine, but it's its own portion of the scale.
It's like the whole like dementia topic. There is so many terms you can get.
Oh, you know how like you know like how
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, sundowners,
all of those are a form of dementia, but so you don't like get it wrong, they just say dementia.
They just say dementia. They're just going crazy. And you know, I think non-binary is a good blanket term for that, Randy. And I think there are people that would disagree with you, but I think there are a great number of people that would agree with you on that.
Yeah, okay, it may not suit like one or two people in the world.
Right. There's always going to be the outlier.
You should, as a nicer human being, you should help the people that don't understand.
Of course. That's, you know, help everyone. Helping everyone helps everyone.
You could still get what you want. To a degree.
Helping anyone helps everyone.
Everyone requires sacrifice. They might not believe in your thing, but if they're willing to use at least non-binary or they, them, they're making a stretch to work with you. Maybe you should work with them and just go simplify, just go non-binary.
Right.
And they, them. Make it simple.
Just asking for the right to be called what they want. And if you believe that impugns upon your rights, then I suppose
it doesn't go against my rights.
Not you.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, but yes.
You were using you as the all general term. I know that.
You're right.
I was just what do you want to call it? Specifying that I'm not seeing it like that.
Yes, good. What did I say?
Something about rights.
Soldier Boy.
Impugning.
Oh yeah, if you believe that. Okay. So when I come up against the idea that a person doesn't want other people to be trans, right? Like my mom.
Yes.
For instance. If I come up against that person, their defense, their primary, not even just defense, their primary, like, motivator, like, why they want to believe what they want to believe, is that you don't have a right to change my beliefs, right?
Yes.
But trans people aren't even at the point where they can ask for the right to not have people attempt to change their beliefs. They're at the point where they're asking for the right to exist and be acknowledged. Christians are further ahead. Christians have been persecuted, but right now are on top. They have the right to exist and function. And so it is not impugning upon your rights for them to have rights as well. It's that simple.
The simple thing is, if they breathe, they talk, they have a sentient mind, they should have all the rights as everyone else.
Right. It's like, I'm not trying to get any person who hates trans people or hates gay people. That's literally fine. I'm not trying to get you to change your belief. I will never try and get you to change your belief on that. I will tell you that though you have that belief, you must protect the rights of the people that you disbelieve in, as they protect your rights as well. They aren't coming after you and telling you that Christians shouldn't exist. And if they are, they're not doing it in a capacity where they can actually make a difference. Unfortunately, Christians have won on that front. The Christians are the ones who get to decide now and make the difference. And it's up to them to follow their faith and believe in what Christ told them.
Okay.
If they want to achieve happiness and possibly eternal life. I am.
If you're recording this, make sure you're not combining all Christians.
I'm
all the
it
radical
wasn't
Christians.
overgeneralization. But, you know, even the ball is in the court of not just the radical Christians. Because the radical Christians have taken the lead, they've taken the lead for all Christians. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That means that you get to help. You as a Christian, as a good Christian, you get to help because God called you to help. God called you to help, and this is the fight that he called you to help in, by God. He wants you to love people. He wants you to help people. And the way that you love and help people is by speaking out against the false prophet and non-believer that are espousing hate in the name of God. They've always been doing this. They've been doing this since the beginning of time, and it's time to put a stop to it, I say.
I just got the realization that I have not once seen a Catholic Christian go against the rights of the LGBTQ or whatever.
It's when you follow what Christ says. You love people. You don't hate them.
It's only really been like Protestant.
What's the deal with Christian hate?
Whether it's Pentecostal, Baptist. Yeah. I've only seen that.
It becomes a difference in the sects, where the sects of Christianity, where you're looking at, do they worship the word or do they worship the concepts that the church presents to them? Like, are they following the word of the Lord Jesus Christ, or are they following the directions of their pastor and parish? Because the more the sect is focused upon the teachings of Jesus Christ, the less they're focused on the religious dogma that comes with being a part of a congregation.
With my experience, the country that have Catholic as their primarily belief love like all of the LGBTQ.
I mean,
the Philippines.
The Vatican's doing their best.
The Vaticans are usually chill on it. The Philippines. Yeah. That's with my experience personally. I've never met anyone from Vatican, but I have like 1, 2, 3, probably 8 or so Filipinas that work with me.
Yeah.
And they all love the LGBTQ community.
It's just like, you can appreciate the beauty of the LGBT community when you're not busy hating it. It's a very colorful community full of a lot of loving people, just like Christianity can be if you're not looking for the hate. It's
you know what the sad thing is, though, on them?
What's that?
All the Filipinos that are citizens of the United States voted for Trump.
It is unfortunate, but, you know...
But somehow...
humans were made imperfect.
Somehow they know more, or something. I don't know. I think they might have known less. Or it's because their husband swayed them to think that way.
This gets into a strange conversation. This is a different conversation, so I gotta stop this recording.